try and understand what really does this Bangladesh unrest mean for Indian companies, and and whether or not this could be an opportunity, so to speak, or not. So let me now welcome on board Sudhir Dhingra, MD at Orient Craft, joining in on the show right now. Mr. Dhingra, great to have you on the show. Help us understand, how is it that you are mapping the situation in Bangladesh right now, and what really could it spell out for Indian textile players?
Thank you, ma'am, for having me on. Whilst you see, from the human side, one feels very bad for whatever is happening. But with the turmoil that's going on, with everything being disrupted, and there's a lot of anxiety that is coming into the minds of the buying community across the world. In the textile world, when we look at Bangladesh, is predominantly an export-oriented economy. They don't have that much of a local consumption. With they've been growing very rapidly over the last few years. In fact, they've crossed 45 billion last year, and they're targeting 50. And their long-term goal was $100 billion, which is exceptionally good. But India has been lagging behind for the last many, many years, and we've been stuck around 15, 16 billion. And I think something like this is going to open a great opportunity for Indian manufacturers. Although there'll be other countries also vying for the same. But it's a huge opportunity for two angles. One is that the textile and predominantly apparel is a very, very labor-intensive sector. It employs almost 32 times the number of people than any other industry. Irrespective of any kind of automation, we still require almost 2.5 to 3 people directly in every factory for every sewing station, and an equal number outside the supply chain. So while we look at it today, I think India employs about 4.5 or 5 crore people into the textile and predominantly apparel. Now, we are stuck at 16 and they're at 45. I think they will lose substantial amount of their business. Depends who will gain. Now, I think India has every possibility to do things, but there are certain things that we will have to react very quickly, because this is a very time-bound business. And once the customer moves from one destination to another, then he usually stays there. So I see this as a great opportunity to grow jobs, and which we desperately need. And especially for the sector, which is, let's say, women or people who are not educated, we can train most of the people in less than 90 days and make them employable. So this is a huge opportunity if we can take it on.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity, but somehow India has not been able to capitalize on that. But Mr. Dhingra, if I had to understand, because there are some people that told us that this is perhaps very transient in nature, it wouldn't lead to a China +1 kind of moment as Bangladesh .1 perhaps that Street is anticipating, because this is a very important industry for them, and maybe in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, things will normalize. Would you agree with that?
I beg to slightly differ. I am not saying that they're suddenly going to lose half their business. But for the conversations that I've had over the last 2 days with several customers, they are very anxious. They are concerned because anything that gets delayed means a huge loss to the customer. And the comfort that they've had over the years is going to wane. Now, how much each one can capture and bring them home is up to us.
So have you had any initial inquiries? Just trying to gauge what would it mean?
We are having several inquiries.
Yeah.
I cannot name the customers, but we are having several inquiries where the customer are asking us to reserve capacity. And so I'm sure this is across the trade. And if we can provide them the capacity, we should be able to garner a lot of business. And I think it will help the country especially when I look at even $1 billion of garment export, means almost 1 million direct jobs and 1 million jobs in the supply chain. So even if we can get 10, 15, 20% of what they have, that would mean 7, 8, 9 billion. And that would, you can virtually imagine how many million jobs could be created in a matter of a few months.
Point is absolutely taken. Thanks, Mr. Dhingra, for making time and speaking with us. So even if it means that 10% business comes to India, it's anything incremental for us, and that will help and go a long way in terms of job creation. That's the word coming in.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.